Meditation doesn't work when you don't know what you're doing. In this video, I'll point to 5 mistakes new meditators make that destroy their interest and commitment to meditation. This means they give up long before they could have seen the results of genuine practice. And you don't want that to happen, so let's make sure it doesn't. I'm Jeffrey. I've been teaching and practicing meditation for 30 years. I've trained under the best teachers in the world, and I've worked closely with more than 1,000 people like you to put meditation in place so that it comes to life as soon as possible. If you want to fortify your meditation, check out my free email course, The Meditation 101. It's something I put together to answer all the questions people have when they're looking to make meditation meaningful, linked below. So let's start with the first point you need to hear as early as possible. It's your agenda. You need to let go of it. Your agenda gets in the way of something better than your agenda. I know you have your dreams and goals, and you probably want meditation to help you get to them. But that's just not what meditation does. And if you try to make it do that, 1, it won't work. 2, you'll lose time. And 3, you'll probably quit in discouragement, not understanding what the big deal is. And you'll probably not return to do meditation the right way. Meditation is the path of a much better agenda. It does things for you that you can't and won't understand beforehand. It's like the way your brain grew after childhood to handle much more scope and vision than the 10-year-old you had. That 10-year-old had the worldview of a 10-year-old. They couldn't have navigated finances and political upheavals, love, grief, or mortality. They weren't ready for that. Well, meditation pulls you in the direction of a much more sophisticated stage of yourself. Meditation develops you far beyond your current scope of what's possible. None of us start out with that knowledge. It's like looking up at a mountain and not being able to see the actual summit because it's out of sight. And here's the thing. Your agenda isn't going to hold up to the meditation experience. You'll leave it behind. We all do. So the best thing to do is drop it and cultivate the open-mindedness of being willing to apply yourself and watch things unfold. That's what the teacher Suzuki Roshi called beginner's mind. Having no agenda is a power move, not a loss of power, because meditation has a powerful agenda on its own. Now you're ready to begin meditation in an authentic way. You're cultivating a beginner's mind. You're not importing your fantasies and hopes. Is there anything more you need to know before you start? Yes, and that's the next point. There is stuff you need to know, and this stuff is called knowledge. That's right, meditation is a knowledgeable pursuit. You can't be a dummy and meditate. You also can't just wing it from the gut because this isn't a pursuit that's navigated intuitively. And that's a tough one for some people because we've been sold the idea that meditation's a natural, intuitive practice that doesn't need knowledge. You just somehow be yourself or rest in the now. And so knowledge would just get in the way. But let me be one of the many I hope you listen to tell you that that's terrible advice. That's persuasion at work, telling you not to lift a finger, just to go with the flow, baby. But that's how you remain a baby. You know who encourages this the most? Cults. And I know you're not trying to join a cult. You're trying to learn meditation and you're looking online. That's why you're watching me. But just have a look around this place. Much of what's here is not real meditation. It's fake guru meditation baloney. It's cult stuff, and you don't have to fall for it. You can just walk right past it to the good stuff, and that's what I hope you do. And you do that by training your mind to understand the journey, the path itself, the stages of the path, the milestones of the path, and the accounts given by meditators of the past who left records of their journey. That's how everything stays clean and real. The living network of knowledge is called lineage. You have the Mahamudra lineage, the Theravada lineage, the Zen lineages, the Dzogchen lineages. They're all slightly different in their approach to the path, but they're still legitimate and hold a very high standard of authenticity. One of my earliest teachers told me to never study with anyone without a lineage. Now, I didn't know what he meant. but now I do. God, he was right. Because most people don't have a lineage. They don't even have a teacher. Never study meditation with someone who doesn't have a teacher and a lineage. But what about this knowledge? Is it universally available? Is it available on an app? Is it available at your yoga center? Is it all just the same? Well, no, it's not all just the same. And that's the third point. You need to get your knowledge and instruction from those who have both, and that means they were trained. Real teachers were trained by real teachers. And just like every dentist was trained by one of the known dental schools in the world, and every surgeon was trained by a known medical school, all the authentic teachers alive today were trained by one or more of the existing lineages that stretch back hundreds, sometimes thousands of years. Few people seem to appreciate how much training it takes to really teach this stuff well. Teachers don't just pop out of nowhere. They don't just pop out of a personal awakening. Some roles demand more than talent. They demand time. So how can you tell who's a real teacher? This is important. You don't just decide for yourself. That would take years of working with someone to know. And you might feel for the first few years, this person is great. Oh, they're helping me so much. But a few more years down the road, no, they weren't. This happens all the time. So what do? It's easy. You check their lineage. You have to understand who they learn from and how long they spent learning. And it needs to be clear that they were actually trained not just to meditate, but to teach meditation. These are two different skills. A trained teacher probably spent 10 years becoming a teacher, and they probably spent 10 years before that developing strong personal experience in meditation. And that's what you want. And there are thousands of people like that, but if you just get online and scroll, you aren't going to find them. You're going to find the fakes. So don't waste your time with unqualified teachers. You'll deeply regret it many years from now. It may be something you can't quite get over because of the betrayal of trust, the gullibility, and the wasted years. I've seen this so much I can't bear it. So look for a lineage. You need to trace their lineage several generations back. And if you can't, move on. As an example, I can name my teachers' teachers going back 400 years. That's a lineage. So now you have your beginner's mind. You're free from unrealistic fantasies, and you've enriched yourself with knowledge and clear understanding. You've connected with the support of a genuine teacher. You are well on your way. But there are a few things that make this experience better and more human. We don't want to cultivate fantasy on this journey. That's what we're trying to move away from. So to help with that, it's important to absorb a few more things. You need to understand the results of meditation and what's real. You're not going to wake up and be enlightened right away. I know there are teachers online who claim otherwise, but they are exactly the sorts of people I am warning you to avoid. You should understand what results you will get from your practice in the first stage, what milestones these will signify, and how you'll change your approach at that point to move to the next stage. You should understand that meditation isn't just one thing you start at the beginning and practice all the way to the end. It doesn't work like that. You will get results and they will change your life, but they aren't going to happen all at once or all that quickly. But they will happen in sequence, with the deeper results depending on earlier results. And that means we need to understand the timeline. Meditation is deep and transformational. You need to think about meditation in terms of the rest of your lifetime, not just your calendar. For example, an early goal for many people is to try to bring themselves to meditative stability, or samadhi. You'll need about a year or two if you're starting from nowhere. You can't push yourself and make it all happen in a month. You can try, but it will mess with your head and it won't last. But if you do it carefully with an open timeline, it will settle in naturally and rewire you. That's a good first goal. Now, if you're aiming for something deeper like non-self or really deep like emptiness, those are long-term goals. Don't push. Even in the best historical conditions, when society supported meditators and respected them, those first milestones of realization were thought to take 7 years of dedicated practice. 7 years. Some do it sooner, but not much sooner. I always say, meditation begins now and continues from now on. And chances are, when you see what meditation is, you won't stop. The teachers in my lineage practiced up to the day of their death. Some of them died in meditation, which isn't that unusual. When the time of death comes, they prepare themselves in meditation and they just die. Meditation has prepared them for that moment. To them, it's just another moment. It's not something that they're afraid of. And that brings us to the next point, which is what really separates the children from the adults in the room. Meditation is a grown-up pursuit for people who understand the brevity of life and the significance of death. Rather than just putting off thinking about death while you try to empty your bucket list, meditators are more grown up than that. They see that every day is bringing them closer to that final day. They're going to hit that final day, that's 100% certain. And they know that when they do, they'll be leaving behind unfinished business, unfulfilled plans, buckets of bucket lists they didn't get around to. And that contains so much power that meditation traditions encourage even young people to prepare in this way. I didn't contemplate my death much at all until my first serious training retreat in my late 20s, and it changed the course of my life. Honestly, I wish I would have engaged it earlier. You can sometimes tell when someone has integrated the reality of death, but it isn't always obvious. But you can always tell when someone hasn't. They're childish, they're selfish, they're shallow, they're superficial. It's easy to see when you know what to look for. The contemplation of death and impermanence is the beginning of growing up and making you suitable for deeper meditation. And if you won't do this preparation, meditation can't yield its true rewards for you. This is the gateway you pass through for that to become possible. I mean, you should still start meditation now, but don't be averse to opening your mind to the teachings that prepare you for a deeper experience. And those are some of them. I mentioned bucket lists, and that's important because, man, we have this whole world of entertainment and amusement, and everything is about what we want. And we just have to understand that that is going to sidetrack our meditation, and we have to be on the lookout for that. In meditation, it is important not to get sidetracked by the circus of silly meditation ideas that are infiltrating our world. This used to be the bread and butter of New Age bookstores, but it's now a fungus growing all over social media. This can be summed up in one idea: spiritual experiences. Don't waste your time with this silly stuff. Real meditators, the ones who've spent 20 or 30,000 hours in meditation, have had every experience in the book, and they never, ever emphasize these. In fact, they try to get rid of them like a rash. Energy releases, visions, experiences of your chakras. These are just like having gas after a big meal. So the bottom line is, if you start to have a vision or a powerful energetic experience, just relax, let it go. If you don't let it go, you've let something else go. You've left the path. You'll regret that someday, perhaps bitterly. And also, let this be an indicator of who you should probably avoid. If some teacher is going on and on about chakras and visions and past lives, get out of there. That's not a teacher, that's a salesperson, and they're looking for a follower. Real teachers don't talk about that because that's not what you talk about. That's not the goal. So don't forget you can get a lot of good information on all this in my free Meditation 101 course. It's linked below, and it'll also connect you with my Substack if you go for that kind of thing. Now, I have one encouraging thing to say to you, which I think is really important because everyone these days is so ambitious and tight about their daily routine, about never missing a day of their workout or their diet or their journaling or whatever. It is okay to miss a day of meditation. It's fine. If life happens, you have to go visit a sick friend and you miss 3 or 4 days, that's not going to derail you. You will be able to come back from that. Don't be some kind of a hero who never misses a day. It doesn't matter. Meditate most days of your life, every day if you can. And once a month, do an intensive meditation, like 6 hours. You can do 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, and you can have little breaks in there. Once a year, you can do a week-long meditation retreat. If you do all of this stuff, you will see results. You will see progress. You will come to value meditation as the most important thing in your life. These points are all so important. I teach them all the time in my retreats and workshops. I encourage students to be realistic and not so gullible, and also not so tight. Your lifetime is a tremendous opportunity to discover something remarkable. Meditation is the way to do that. Meditation is glorious. Just give it your best and it'll show you what is best about you, and you will be overjoyed. This video starts a conversation. It needs a few more parts. I suggest you watch this shorter video to keep going.